Hi everyone, I want to talk about the eating disorders and the raw foods movement in this video. My name's Ronnie. I've been basically documenting my 12, 13-year raw foods journey, 14-year raw foods journey over the last, since 2012. I think I've had this channel. And I started getting into this in 2011 and pretty much sort of committed to it in 2012. So that's been since then, nearly 13 years, I guess, I've been on this raw food diet. I pretty much stick to 100% raw food diet here in Scotland. It's what I like. I really enjoy it. That's why I do it. So that's my quick story. I also run the UK Fruit Fest, and I sometimes do some coaching and do some one-to-one coaching with people. I probably should put a link below for that. If you're interested in talking to me and getting some help with these things, then you can let me know. But I want to talk to you about eating disorders and the raw food movement, because I think that not that long ago, I'm pretty sure I was talking to someone and they said, "Oh, didn't someone die from a raw foods diet?" And quite a lot, if someone does die of a raw food diet, supposedly die of a raw food diet, or even a vegan diet occasionally, there's usually other things going on. It's very rarely anything to do with the diet or deficiencies, which which don't exist, but people like to believe exist, even raw food and vegan educators. Um, and the reason that they like to talk about deficiencies is because when they talk about deficiencies, people listen because people are scared, and then they feel like, oh, people are scared of this. Oh, nice. I can get a bit of attention. I can, whatever. So deficiencies don't exist, essentially. Um, I mean, if you choose not to eat fruit, you can get deficiencies, of course. If you're a frugivore, if you're a fruit eating primate and you choose not to eat fruit, then of course you can get deficiencies. Well, of course, but on a fruit diet? No, no. So uh, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. People still worry. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You can show them. You can show them the evidence. Doesn't matter. People still worry. I know. So, I know a lot of you watch this video, and you'll still worry about deficiencies, and you'll go on whatever green powders and protein and all that stuff that you don't need. Minerals, because surely the modern foods don't have the minerals anymore. Like, yeah, they do. Probably more than the food in the past. The food now is better quality. That's just the way it is. So, uh, people can't quite believe that or understand that, but it's kind of obvious. It's what we do. We improve on things. So, does the raw food diet cause eating disorders? So the argument would go that when we tell people to do this restrictive diet and tell them to cut this out and cut this out, that we create sort of panic and worry and anxiety around food, and that triggers eating disorders in people. Well, if you look at the statistics on eating disorders, they affect a pretty massive amount of the population. I think that I think I saw a statistic, it was like 6% or something. And I'm not even sure that's low, but something like 6% of the population had been touched in some way by an eating disorder. So that's a lot of people. If you've got millions of people in your country, then 6% is a lot. Hundreds of thousands of people. Um, so it's more than there are vegans, pretty much. It's more than there are people on a vegan diet. So it's obviously more than there are people on a raw foods diet. And most people on a raw foods diet don't have eating disorders. So raw foods is not the cause of eating disorders. Neither is veganism. Neither is really any restrictive diet stuff. As far as I can see, I mean, you can't make that claim that it's the cause. So clearly, eating disorders are happening regardless of the raw foods diet. And you could probably make a stronger argument that the cooked food diet leads to eating disorders. Cooked foods lead to various anxiety problems and emotional problems related to food. But in a sense, is there any problem with having emotional stuff around food? It is an emotional thing. We are emotional creatures. We do have attachments to things. We create emotion quite naturally towards things. So why wouldn't you have some emotions around food? But what happens, it seems, with eating disorders is people get extremely agitated, anxious, fearful around eating too much. And where's that triggered from? I don't think it's from the raw foods movement. I really don't. I think it comes from some point maybe earlier in their life, and it's unlikely their parents were trying to put them on a raw foods diet. So there's something really emotional, psychological going on along with eating disorders, and the modern foods don't really help because modern foods are designed to be, especially processed foods, are designed to be hyper palatable and hard to control how much you eat and lead to people becoming obese. And obesity is something we should be concerned about. We should have worries actually about eating too much to some degree, not out of control, but we should be a little bit concerned. Like we should be a little bit like aware of, if I just eat as much as I want all the time of any type of foods that I just find delicious all the time, that's not going to take me to a good place in life. So we should have some natural level of concern and awareness of our eating because we have an abundant ability to eat in our modern world. We have abundance. But that doesn't mean that we should just go for abundance, right? Um, at least it doesn't get most of us to our particular goals. But in our past, it was our sort of default to some degree. But there's something complex around that because it's not just that we would eat as much as we like. We are a social species. So we would eat as much as we like as long as everyone else is able to as well. But like there's a complex thing around that where it's not just about me getting to eat as much as I like. I need to make sure that others do and that they're happy. So there's a natural anxiety thing about the food supply. How much is there? Am I okay to eat this much? What's everyone else thinking? And it seems like all this emotional stuff can get triggered in people and go out of control a little bit and lead to all sorts of stuff. But there's more to eating disorders, I'm sure. It's not a subject I understand a huge amount. But because of raw foods, but I would say that as being part of the raw foods scene and all that, I've definitely come across eating disorder stuff. And it's led me to change the way I think about things, to change the way I communicate about things, to specifically tailor the festival that I run in a particular way to avoid particular topics and ideas. And it really influences how I think about a number of things, particularly fasting. And I know that a lot of the people that are really into fasting talk about it all the time. There's a good chance some of those people are eating disorder candidates. You previously had eating disorders, still have eating disorders, are still underweight. If you're underweight, you're not healthy. So people that preach detox and cleansing and they're underweight, you're not healthy. You have to be at a healthy body weight for everything to be working properly and for your emotional system to be working properly. Part of the weird thing about eating disorders is people put themselves in such a deficit that just their brain and emotions aren't working properly anymore. And you'll find with people with eating disorders, they're incredibly deceptive. Incredibly deceptive. And constantly lying, constantly delusional. Lying to your face. Pretending that they eat so much. And, it's a weird thing. It's a strange thing. So you definitely see it. You definitely see people, and not that long ago there was a girl in Thailand that died. No, Bali. That great place that people go to, live in paradise, where people die. There's a guy called Austin as well. He's no longer a raw vegan, no wonder. He never really got involved in this scene properly. He tried to be an influencer, tried to tell everyone else what they should do. Meanwhile, admitted that when he went to Thailand, he nearly died. Everyone saw that. This is why I say festivals and events and retreats, not I'm going to go to Thailand and bum around for a while, be a fruit bum. That's not the way to learn about this diet. You need to get around people that have been doing this long term. You don't know a lot of these people don't know the weaknesses they've got in their head, in their mind. So they go off to Southeast Asia. They're away from their parents, away from their family, away from their friends, away from their community, and all of a sudden there's no one really that cares about them, around them. And they're just bumming around and kind of avoiding things. And a couple of people, they get super skinny because they don't know what they're doing. And they've maybe got an eating disorder tendency that's been triggered a little bit. And then they're on their own, no one's around them, no one cares about them. It's a dark place to be. And then they get around other people that are in the same mentality. Terrible. You need to have mentors like me. You need to be around the big brothers. If you're a young man, you need to be around the brothers, the big brothers, that say, no, that's bullshit. You don't do that, whatever you're doing. You have to eat sufficiently. You have to be, and you can't just be this weak, skinny, like nothing person. Like, no one can be that and function. So he nearly died. There was a girl that nearly died, and then they're still telling everyone else what to do, after they've nearly died. But anyway, don't listen to the people that nearly died. Like, that's not the best people to get advice from. So, so this girl died. She was ghostly looking. I mean, she was skeleton. She was so skinny. It was ridiculous. And there were people around there, but she was one of these people no one could help. I'm sure some people sort of tried to help, but it's Bali. It's like, no one gives a fuck about anyone in Bali. It's just about whatever, indulgent. I don't know what it is in these places. Just let's all pretend to be spiritual and not like care for people. That's what a lot of these scenes are. So she died. It would be interesting if we got her at UK Fruit Fest. It would be interesting. But I don't know. Maybe she was completely helpless. A lot of these people are. It's like, what should I do? You should eat. Like, eat anything at this point. Not a raw foods diet anymore. And that's the thing if you have an eating disorder background, this isn't for you. It's one of the few things. It's one of the few times I'd say to people, like, you need to eat anything. You're in death situation. Eating disorders is the world of death. Being underweight is death. It's not long-term chronic disease. It is problems, but it's death. Like, you're treading the precipice of death, and something weird in your psychology likes that, which you don't have the awareness to realize is a bad thing. You've got some kind of a death wish, maybe. You like the attention you get from being, or the sympathy, or whatever it is. You feel like there's some kind of power in this. There ain't. There's death. That's where you're going. And you need to open up. So, and I know there's people with eating disorders watching this, because it's just any 100 people watching a video in the raw foods community, there'll be some of them that are eating disorder people. It just happens. But mostly, what happens is people with eating disorders come to us because they think they can hide within this community, and people will leave them alone and stop telling them to eat, because that's what everyone does with people with eating disorders. Like, you have to eat, which is truth, but they don't want to be told to eat. That's stressful. That's them not going with their sole purpose in life, or whatever. So, I mean, I once was in a Zoom room. I had 25 people in a little chat we were doing. And I was looking around going, 4 of these people have had anorexia. Well, I don't know if they currently still did. They weren't in the worst stages of it. But 4 of them, I was thinking, 4 of these people have had anorexia. And there's 25 people in this room. It's not a good numbers. But you do tend to find that some of the people that are the most vocal on internet forums and stuff like that, a bunch of them, you see their profile picture and they've got the really skinny neck. And you're like, oh, this is an eating disorder person. This is someone who's going to give me major reasons as to why they're underweight, and try and explain it all away, and not just eat more food. What should I do? What should I, like, eat more food? Like, what are you talking about? There's no magic to this. Should I fast again? Will that help me? No. No, you should not fast again. I was amazed to find out. So I was at Canada Fruit Fest one time with Lauren Lockman was speaking there. Lauren Lockman has fasted a lot of people, and there was a woman there. I think her name was, maybe I shouldn't say names, but she was a very skinny lady, and she came up to me because I'd called her out for, she'd been posting things on Instagram about, like, she could coach you and help you, and she was obviously an anorexic. And so I'd sort of called her out a little bit, and then she came up to me at Canada Fruit Fest and went, like, was kind of denying it all and shouting at me, and because they're very good at denial and arguing their nonsense, And she went away, and I was standing with Lauren Lockman. I go, Lauren, is there any chance that woman's just, like, done a fast or something, or am I crazy in thinking that she's obviously got a severe eating disorder? And Lauren went, no, he immediately just went, no, she's anorexic. Like, he immediately said that. Now, a year or two later, or not that long after, I found out that she was at Tanglewood. And I was like, why is Lauren letting someone that he classes as having an eating disorder, why is he letting them fast? I don't know. But maybe he believes some people are underweight because they've got stuff stuck in them, and maybe that story just happens to magnetically appeal to people with eating disorders. Maybe they just love that story. They love that story about mucoid plaque nonsense. All that's complete garbage. Never doesn't exist. Never happened. But but I mean, logically, mucoid plaque. Anyway, so eating disorders. Certainly, there are people with eating disorders in raw foods community. So with events, with my communications, with everything, I'm not that bothered about fasting, under eating, calorie restriction. I'm not that, like, I want people to lose weight. I want fat people to lose weight. I don't want skinny people to lose weight. I want people that are fat to get slim. I really want people who are overweight to get to a normal body weight. I wish that I tell you what, and it would, for us that are around about our normal body weight, it would kind of be bad for us. Imagine all these overweight people were all of a sudden slim. Think of the competition you would have. Think of all of a sudden there's all these, like, tons of extra super beautiful attractive people who are way less attractive just because they're super fat. And then if you're in a fitness activity, all of a sudden there's way more fit people. There's way more capable people of being fit, of being active, of being healthy. It'd be a different world. But people just let themselves get highly overweight, get obese. It's not that obese people can't be attractive. That's not true to say. But less so, like less so, you know. And so they should lose weight, but they should be eating a sufficient amount of calories to maintain a healthy body weight. People who are underweight shouldn't be fasting. People who are, if you've had any kind of anorexia background, you should never fast again. You should. It should be like you're an alcoholic who never drinks again, even though you probably couldn't get away with it, but you never should. You never should. So I don't have the answer for that. For people that do have eating disorders, you need to get help. You need to identify the issue. I remember last couple of years ago, I was at the Amazon Fruit Fest and I was with a guy. I was good friends with him. I really liked him, but he was never eating. He almost never saw him eat. And I started to catch this and started to talk to him a little bit about it. He opened up a little bit, and it was like when he ate or when he ate too much, he would get this anxiety, and that's what it is. It's like these emotional things have been triggered, and who knows from what event happened in his life or whatever. But if he would eat and then he would eat too much, he would feel bad about it. You know, um, there was a guy at Amazon. He died at Terra Frutis, anorexic. Died. Oh, might have been dry fasting as well. You know, probably the death combination, the 1-2 punch. Let's have anorexia and do some dry fasting, and that's really what a lot of dry fasting and fasting stuff. There's a lot of eating disorder stuff around that. Not that people can't fast for a healthy reason, I suppose, to some degree, but a lot of people that are very obsessed with fasting and want to fast all the time and talk about fasting a lot, and they're super low body weight. It's like, come on, come on now. And I've got friends in this movement who have been super low body weight a long time, like lower than they should be, a long time. It's not good. It's not good. Um, I don't think so. And women have an obvious thing to know their low body weight, which is their period stops. That's when you're too low in body weight. Like if your period stops, that's not the raw food diet cleansing you. That's you are no longer functioning. Your body's basically saying, I'm not healthy enough to carry a child. I'm not healthy enough to go through a pregnancy. You know, that's a sign of ill health, I think. But overall, I do not believe we create um, that. And the message in the raw food movement has really not been restriction for a long time, as far as I've seen. There's not been many people that have said you need to restrict or watch what you eat or cut down or don't eat too much. The one thing that we talk about is restricting fat, restricting the amount of nuts and seeds and oil and stuff like that. But we we say that an abundance of fruits and vegetables, and it's very hard to become overweight in fruits and vegetables. So um, that's my message of the day. Mainly, I'd be happy to get your thoughts on it. I think eating disorders are a terrible thing, a really tough thing to deal with. I think a person needs a lot of support. They need to not be on their own, which is hard to engineer that situation because people don't want to be around people that are severely got problems. But they really need to, and that's a problem. Like people don't have family, they don't have connections, they maybe are staying away from their friendships. It's tough. It's a tough situation and very sensitive for people. And it's very much mental health issues that are connected with it all. At the Fruit Festival, we don't talk about fasting essentially. I mean, it probably comes up. Fasting is a topic that is compelling to people, and it really doesn't matter what logical argument you make to people like, you guys are starting off, you're not even anywhere near a healthy diet yet, you are making your first step. Like, there's no point in you doing that because you will just go right back to your old diet. So spending £10,000, going on a walk fasting adventure, you'll just go right back to your old diet and all your old problems will come back. And no one listens, or some people listen. But most people are like, yeah, but I want to hear about fasting. It's a quick way of me getting skinny. That's basically, and fasting is for most people about getting skinny. That's all it is. That's why fasting centers exist. That's why they make money, because people want to get skinny. It's the only reason. It's not the only reason people do it. It's the reason the majority of people do it, if they're honest. And a small amount of people, they don't need to get skinny, but they think it might help their body perform better. They think it might heal certain things. They might have a condition. They think it might heal. So there's a percentage of people that are in it for that, supposedly. I still think a lot of those people are trying to get skinny too. But a whole ton of people, they want to get skinny. And a lot of people do think it'll help them trigger long term. It will trigger them to be on the diet long term, and it doesn't. It basically doesn't do that. So, but there's a lot of eating disorder people around fasting, So that's a shame. But my last message: we don't create eating disorder people. Eating disorders are in the population in general, in a big way. I think they're more likely created by our weird culture with cooked food, where kids are force-fed foods they don't want to eat. They're forced to overeat on foods they don't want to eat. They don't get the foods that do nourish them and do lead to a natural sense of satisfaction, which are the fruits. And so that's the bizarre food culture that we have. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you want more support or help from me, you can follow this channel. I'll put some links down below. Thank you very much.